Here. Welcome to a little live stream going over my new course, Minor Lines in the Style of Charlie Christian. I'd like to give you a brief overview. You can preview the third section of this course, Example Licks, here on YouTube, or you can check out the course page on my site and view it there as well to get a feel for what that's like viewing my courses through my website. So in this course, I have 5 sections listed. I have the first section where I talk about the different chord grips that Charlie works out of. We start with the basic kind of cowboy chord structure, then move down to the shell voicing, and then we reduce it typically to the first 4 strings of the guitar. So to give a quick example, that would be something like a B flat minor chord. And then I would reduce that maybe down to a B flat minor 7, Freddie Green rhythm guitar shell voicing, and then move that down to a B flat minor triad. And this is the shape that Charlie Christian is working out of when he creates his solos. So that's the first section of the course, moving through B flat minor, E flat minor, and F7. And then looking at some extensions of those chords, some different colors using like a B flat minor 6, an E flat minor 6, and an F7 flat 9. Those are the main chords we work through. Those are the main harmonies that Charlie Christian is using. In the second section of the course, I begin talking about what I've referred to on this channel a few times and with my private students, the pool of notes. So in summary, a pool of notes is a collection of notes that a player will typically use over a certain set of changes or between 2 types of chords. So to me, this is a little easier to conceptualize than just practicing up and down a scale in some kind of alphabetical order. Rather, this is teaching us how to hear the sound. So to give an example, if we're playing a B flat minor, what are all of the notes that Charlie Christian uses outside of the B flat minor triad or arpeggio? So what I do and what I try to kind of demonstrate in the opening and how I practice is I simply play the chord, I listen to it, and then I try and experiment with different notes around it. So what happens if I play, one of these arpeggio notes plus a 9? So I might go. Oh, that sounds pretty good, right? And I play it again against the chord just to get that in my ear, and I try some more. And I said, okay, cool, I got the 9 sound in my ear, and I might even play it with the chord. And once I get that, I say, okay, why don't I add in the 4th? So I'll play the E flat in there. So I now have a longer line. And I go on from there and kind of teach which notes Charlie Christian is pulling from to create his own pool of notes for each chord specifically. So B flat minor, E flat minor, and F7 and F7 flat 9. And then how he uses a pool of notes between or through the changes and then at large over the entire song. A way I describe this in the course is like when a bunch of guitarists get together and they say, hey, let's jam in the key of A, and immediately all of them start playing A pentatonics. It works because you can play A pentatonics over an A chord, a C chord, a D chord, an E chord, and usually there's kind of like a rock setting jam, and it just kind of glosses over and it sounds good. So there's varying levels of the pool of notes of how we can kind of gloss over the changes, specify the changes, and then play specifically to each chord. And so I break that down in the second section of the song. Of the course, excuse me. And then in the third section, we take a look at some example licks from swing to bop, so you can get some of the vocabulary in your playing. It's one thing to hear it and be familiar with the sounds, which is the first step. The next thing is to start working on the actual note choice and phrasing. And then from there, we take a look at different rhythmic motifs that Charlie Christian uses in the swing to bop solo, but as well in his other solos. So this is focusing on rhythmic displacement and repetition, call and response, and using different accenting. So we might accent on the and of the quarter note beat to get a certain effect. So we go through that in the 4th section. And then lastly, in the 5th section, we combine all of these things in a blues progression inspired by Charlie Christian. And we do 3 choruses of that kind of blues solo. And you can see the solo that I teach in one of my preview videos or shorts on YouTube. I have that. Just go scroll a few videos back and you can hear what you'll be learning by combining all 4 sections. So I try and make it as digestible as I can. Charlie Christian is a very simple player, and it's very important to study, one, for a foundational view and navigation of the fretboard, but also a master soloist who remains simple in his playing. He has just a few ideas to use over minor chords, but with this combination of the note choice, the rhythmic displacement, repetition, and accenting, and then just using different arpeggios to address the changes, you can really do a lot with this playing. And as always, in all of my courses, I always want to bring it back to hearing how the notes sound against the chord. So throughout this course, I kind of drive home how important it is to play the grip and then play the lick and hear it against it. So if you're playing something that sounds like this over a B flat minor chord, I want you to really take the time to hear how that chord sounds and then get into the notes themselves. So with a lick like that, I'm playing a lot of B flat, but I'm also alluding to some F7 and F7 flat 9. I'll listen to it one more time. So it sounds great against the B flat minor. But also then listen to it against the F7 flat 9 or F7. This is a trick that Charlie Christian does throughout all his recordings, as well as great soloists. Whenever you're just playing on a static chord, you can always allude to the 5 of that chord to introduce some tension. We talk about this in the course, but you don't hear that by just playing up and down licks without the chords in context. So throughout this course, again, a drive home, play the chord, play the lick, play the chord, play the lick, and vice versa. And this really helps get these sounds in your ears. So if you're just starting with some Charlie Christian and getting into swing guitar, I highly recommend checking out this course, especially for minor ideas. There isn't too much minor vocabulary that's taught, it seems like. In swing guitar context, it's all dominant 7ths, and there's a relationship there. See my previous Charlie Christian lesson for that. He definitely helps us understand how minor and dominant 7th chords relate. But this would be a great place to expand your minor vocabulary. And then if you haven't checked out my previous 2 Charlie Christian courses, you can see one on the blues and then creating your own licks in the style of Charlie Christian. You buy any one of these courses and you get an upsell on the other 2, 10% off. I recommend checking them all out if you are an inspired swing guitarist or want to just kind of spice up your own blues or rock or country playing. If you have any questions, please send me a line on the comment section, or you can reach me at my contacts page on my website. And I'll see you in the upcoming week with some more lessons. Thank you all.